Do you agree with Ben Johnson that the 2025 Bears season is a unique entity unto itself? So there is no carryover, Ben?
Besides Caleb, what gives you confidence that you guys are going to be able to build off this and that they're
Yeah, there is no building off of this. We go back to square one. We're back at the bottom again. And that's really all 32 teams. If you feel otherwise, you're probably missing the big picture. You know, we're back at we got to start from scratch. We got to start from the fundamentals. You know, a lot of guys talked about how difficult this training camp was. I didn't feel like it was anything out of my ordinary. They know what the expectation is. They know what the process is that we believe in as a coaching staff. And so I think more than anything else, they're going to know what they're getting themselves into. And yet we got to dig a little bit deeper. We got to work a little bit harder. We got to give a little bit more if we want to take this thing over the top.
So a great attitude and message or absolute fact?
Both. It's a great message. It's the way you want to come out of what was a transformational season in Chicago at Hallis Hall for the Bears. You don't want any hint of complacency and any type of comfortability creeping into the approach. Now, it's tricky because it gives you that luxury of going into next season or the offseason like none of what you just accomplished matters in planning for the next year. But it will matter. It will matter when you are in those games and you're tight in the fourth quarter and the first time that you're in a one-score game and it's 5 minutes to go and you have the ball or you need the ball, you don't panic because you've been there before. You have developed a championship-winning culture, the beginning of one. You've done it for 1 year. Nobody's impressed around the league. You got to do it again. And you want to get to the point where it is old hat. You want to get to the point where this is just the standard. What does Mike Tomlin say? He had 19 in a row of winning seasons. The standard is the standard. And Ben Johnson made clear what that standard is at Hallis Hall now.
There is a new standard up there, and I guess you need to tear the team down. But we also heard a lot of our experts talking about the taste of playoff football and winning a playoff game and getting to overtime in a game that would have sent you to the NFC Championship game and then, of course, one win to get to the big game. Like that was going to be something that players craved after it. So I think there needs to be a little bit more than just a hard – I mean, he kind of went – I mean, Biggs asked that question, and he kind of was like, no, Brad, and no fans, and no players paying attention. That doesn't mean anything. It is he is turning the page way faster than I think any of us are ready to do on the 2025 season.
Interesting. And you're okay with that or not? Doesn't sound like it.
No, I'm not okay with that.
Wow.
I'm not.
You know, I think that is the attitude you have to have.
Surprised.
I don't have a problem with what he said, as Dustin seems to, and we'll investigate why as we move forward. But I think what he said specifically when he talked about back to fundamentals, he talked about catching the football. He talked about how important catching the ball is. And, you know, we know that Rome Odunze was told that in his exit interview, and he kind of talked about that. But there were plenty of other people that had drops on that team as well. So there was a lot of that going on, frankly. There were a lot of issues with penalties early in the year. You can't have that stuff go on. I mean, he's talking about discipline. He's talking about not feeling you've earned something because you had one good year. And he's talking about not necessarily the carryover in poise, as we just mentioned, one of the things they do well, but maybe the carryover in terms of feeling like you've got something going when the reality is nobody was losing in your division and everybody's going to reload and everybody's coming for you and all that stuff. So I liked the attitude a lot. I think it's great. But I do think that there is experience now to go with, and that's kind of what Dustin is talking about. You've won a playoff game. Among other things, you know what it's like to be hugely disappointed. As much as they came back and they snuck into that overtime, and that was extraordinary and one of the greatest throws we've seen, the fact is they were basically in the championship game, the NFC championship game, and they turned the ball over and they lost the game. So it didn't work out the way that you wanted it to. So I think there's a lot of real lessons to be learned from what they went through, but you've got to have that sense that we're starting from scratch and nothing's given to us and we got to work our rear ends off.
Best leaders are consistent ones.
Yes.
And what we heard yesterday was consistent with everything that we have seen and heard from Ben Johnson in year one. He's going to be the same guy.